Good morning, Year 2s, and welcome to the first maths lesson of this week. We're doing something slightly different this week. We're looking at something called data and gathering information. So when we gather information together, we call that data. And we're going to learn this week how to represent that data in what's called a pictogram. The maths term for it is a pictogram, but really it's a graph of pictures, so a picture graph, and it's where we show data representing pictures. So there's going to be lots of activities to do on that this week, some from me and some from other videos as well. So I'm going to start off by showing you a collection of house points that I have recorded. Now I want you to have a look at these two images here. I've recorded some house points here, and I've also recorded some house points here. And my first question to you is, which image do you think is easier to count and why? So I'm going to give you just a second to have a little think about that. Okay. Did you get that this one here is easier to read and easier to count? Can you tell me why? It's because it's in a straight line, and it's much easier to count along to make sure that you've got the correct amount. If I was trying to count all these, I'm not sure if I'd be able to count them all properly, and I might miss one, or I might count one of them twice. So it's a lot easier to count things in a line. So that's one of the key things about making a pictogram, that things need to be in either straight lines going across or straight lines going down, and you'll see several examples of those this week. So I have made a pictogram based on house points for our classes this week. It's just pretend, but I wanted to gather some information and show you what it would look like. So have a look at my pictogram here. Now, as you can see at the top, I've written a title which says Year 2 house points, and I've underlined that with a ruler. And then I've drawn myself a box to put my pictogram in. Down the side here, I've got the different classes. So I've got Bahamas, India, Jamaica and Mexico. And here I've got the total number of house points as well. And the reason why we put a total is so that we don't have to keep counting them every time. Because as you can imagine, when there's lots more, it gets a lot harder to count. So let's find out how many everybody got. So Bahamas, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I've written the total in there. Class India, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I've put the total in there. Class Jamaica, 1, 2, 3, and put the total there. And class Mexico, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've put the total there. So I'm going to ask you some questions now about how to read the information that I've given you here. So my first question, which class has got the most house points? Can you tell from looking at it? Which class has got the least house points? So have a look at the total number. And which classes has the same amount as house points as each other? Or as many as is another way we would say it. Okay, so you should be able to see those quite easily. So the class with the most amount is class Bahamas, because they've got 9. The class with the least amount, sorry Jamaica, is Jamaica with 3. And the classes that have got as many as each other are classes India and Mexico, because they've both got the same. They have got 5. Okay, now what I'm going to ask you to do today, this session is in 2 parts. So there's an activity to do from me now, which I'm going to give you to do. I want you, if you can, have a go at creating your own pictogram. Now, I have got some graph paper because it's easier to sort of draw lines and things. It doesn't matter if you haven't got any. I'll try and find some and put some on a link in this remote learning package, so if you want to print some off yourself you can. If not, just a normal piece of paper is fine. And you may need a ruler as well to draw some lines. Now, it's very difficult when you're at home to gather information because there's probably not many of you. Normally we would do this in class where we've got like 30 children to gather lots of information from, but you don't have to do this activity right now. You can come back to it later. And you may need to ask some other members of your family, maybe by email or on the phone, or things that you might know, or you could also ask your pets some information, or you could ask your toys as well and sort of make it up. It doesn't really matter. But I've given you an example of one, and I'm going to talk through another example of one as well. So I've done one here called Our Favourite Food. And down this side I've put 4 options. You don't really need any more than 4 options. So I've got pizza, pasta, curry and vegetables. Okay, and I've asked my family, people that I know, my dogs as well, to find out some information. Oh, I've just realised I haven't put a total up there. So here you can see, oh, this time I've drawn circles instead of stars. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention on the other one is that, can you see that they are all underneath each other? So they are all aligned underneath each other, and that's actually a really important part because when a bit later on in the week we'll be looking at comparing the differences between the different amounts, and it's a lot easier to count on when they're all underneath each other. So that's a really important tip, as well as writing the numbers at the end. So from my pictogram here, you could do one that's very similar to that. So remember, you might need some grown-ups to show you how to draw the boxes, but I'm going to do one very quickly now. I'm not going to use a ruler because it's going to take me a bit long and I can't kind of hold it at the same time, but I will try and draw as straight as possible. So if you did one similar to this, you could answer some questions about it, very similar to what I asked before. What was the most favourite? What was the least favourite? Were there any that were as many as each other? So asking different questions about the type of information that you can find out. Now, one other one that you could do while you're at home, I'm just going to very quickly draw a table like that, and I'm going to draw some lines across. I'm going to draw, so I've got 4 sections and I need my total section, and I'm going to write at the top car colour. Now, you could look out the window if you live on a road where you get lots of traffic coming up and down. I live on quite a main road, so I could actually look out the window and I'm going to look to see which is the most popular car colour that goes past. So let me think of the different car colours I might choose. I might choose red, black, so that's like my car, silver and green. Okay, and every time I see a different colour, I could draw a circle like that. Make sure they're underlined underneath each other. I could have a look and see, what do you think? You could carry on just having a look. Okay, and I'll leave it like that. And then you can put your total on the end. So this is a very rough version, but you can obviously do it all really sort of neatly at the bottom. Now, at the bottom here with this green one, imagine that I've done this. You can see that there's none in here. So what number would I put in this box here to represent that? Because red, I can see that there's 3. Black, I can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Silver, I can see there's 1, 2. How many green did I see in like 5 minutes or something? That's right, I didn't see any. So we would represent that as a 0, because even though we didn't see any, 0 is still a numerical unit of number. So we must still use that. Okay, so that's your challenge for today's session. Go away and have a little play at trying to create your own pictogram. It doesn't have to be circles, it could be stars, it could be smiley faces, whatever you feel like, but have a little go. There's also a video, if you want to watch, which just goes over some of the things that I've talked about this morning as well. It's from another lady from the Oak Academy, but that is completely optional. You don't have to do that. But there is an activity to do on there if you want to do some extra things. Okay, so bye from me, and I shall be back for another session on pictograms tomorrow. Bye for now. Bye.